Hi everybody, this is Katie Vandermeer. I'm going to show you how to set up your operating system on your computer at home or your computers on campus. So to begin, we're on chapter 2. You want to download this homework assignment because there are some important notes in here on how to set up the VM workstation. And I added some additional notes, but we're working from project 2-1 of the textbook. It begins on page 76. Before you begin this, it's very important that you read the chapter. Let me jump over to the book real quick. The chapter is on Linux installation. So it begins by talking about the minimum requirements that you need to install this, and they are assuming that we are using virtual software, which we are. So it talks about different types of virtual software. We are using VM Workstation, and you could use version 12 or version 14. On campus, we're using version 12, but you can get VM Workstation from on the hub. Check your announcements and your student email on information regarding that. There's also information on how to download it in the resource folder and required materials. If you are using a Mac, there is Fusion that's available inside of on the hub. You can download. But I do not know how to use Fusion. If you have questions or need help with that, you probably could contact Professor Rosema and schedule an appointment with him. He'd be happy to help you with setting that up for a Mac. It's pretty straightforward though. And if you're using a Linux machine, you could install VM Workstation for Linux. So when you go to on the hub, it'll say, is this a Windows or Linux download? We want a Windows download because I'm assuming we're installing VM Workstation on our Windows PC, which is what I'm doing. But this chapter explains what virtualization software is doing or what it is, and tells us walks us through the installation and then how to do some basic things inside Linux. So give it a once over before you do the installation so you don't miss any important things and you also understand what you are setting. It talks about file systems and directories that are on Linux systems, and it's just a very quick introduction to it, excuse me. But you need to understand that so when you are clicking next and you're clicking through the installation, you know what you're looking at. So it's a short read. Do that before we go through our installation. And then for the project, you'll see on the Word document that you just downloaded from Blackboard, we're going to do projects, the hands-on projects, and then you'll do some of the discovery projects. So the hands-on projects, they give you a step-by-step guide. Now, like I mentioned, I did some additional notes here. You're going to do all of the project 2.1 through 2.6, and then discoveries 1 and 2. And when you do these projects, what works best is if you go through the full project and then at the end do one screenshot and an explanation of what you learned in that project. So for example, if we look at project 2.2, it wants you to explore some command line terminals. So it'll ask you to enter in this, and then it says, which prompt did you receive and why? Or here it'll say, why did you receive an error message? Can you tell which shell gave you that error message? Which prompt did you receive and why? And for your homework and what you have to turn in, don't answer all of these little questions that are inside the project because it will take too long for you to complete the project. So answer them to yourself, but you don't have to document the answers. But you would go through all of the projects. You'd go through all the steps, step by step, and then when you get to the end, before you hit exit, take a screenshot of what you did. And for screenshots, I use Snippet or the snipping tool. It's on all your Windows systems, or you can just do a screenshot, and then if this is my screen I want to grab, I would just grab that, and then you could do a Control A and a Control C, And then you would go over to your Word document, and then at the end of that project, do a Control V, and there's my screenshot. So I would say, this project taught me how to blah, 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 whatever it taught me. Okay? So that's what I'm looking for when I'm grading, and I've explained it in the assignment too. So a couple sentences of what you learned and a screenshot showing me what you did. But don't get caught up in answering all those little questions in there, because some of the projects you'll find out are very long, and they want you just to think about what's happened. Okay, let's go through our installation, because that's the fun part. Let me close out of my snipping tool. So read the chapter before you begin that. Very, very important. And I'm not just saying that because you're supposed to read the chapter. Oops, let me start over here. Okay. Before you begin the project 2, you need to have downloaded Fedora 20. That's the version we're using. The ISO image, it has a .iso extension. It's just under a gig in size, 953 megs. You want to download that. I posted it on Blackboard. There's an announcement that has the link, and you can download it from my Google Drive. You also might have a copy that came with your textbook, but if you're using an ebook like me, you'll want to get this from my drive. So check your announcements and you'll see it there. You'll also want to have VM Workstation and check your student email. There is information in there on how to connect to on the hub, and you would download version 12 or version 14, whatever version you would like to use, and make sure that's fully installed. Now we're going to do our installation. So we will launch VM Workstation, and we're going to create a new machine, and we'll do a typical, hit next. Here we have our choices of where we want to install it from. For right now, let's just leave it on I will install the operating system later. So make sure that radio button is checked and hit next. And then here it's asking which type of operating system do we want. The default is Windows, so if this is the first time you've used it, or if you did a Windows server or something last time, you'll want to go to Linux, and then the version that we're using is Fedora 64-bit. So find Fedora 64-bit, and then hit next. Now your name your virtual machine. This is especially important, I should say, if you are on campus. So I always put my name in front of it. So I'll put my name, and then I'm going to add that it's at the end. I'm going to say that it's winter 2018, and that's because I do installations all the time, so I want to keep track of what semester my installation's from. Here you can make note of your location. When you install VM Workstation, they create a directory in your documents, users, Katie, virtual machines, so that's where my default one is, and I'm fine with leaving it there. So I'll hit next here. The maximum disk size in the textbook, you'll notice it does tell you to have 20 gigs. So when you read the project, read this before, or at this time if you haven't, but it tells you the things that you'll need. Your 64-bit computer with at least 4 gigs of RAM and 80 gig hard disk space. You need the software, and then down here we need 2 gigs of memory, 20 gigs of virtual hard disk space. And that's important because some of our projects later on, we're going to take this additional space and use it for things. So we're going to leave that at 20. And here we have an option to store as a single file or split it into multiple files. It is extremely important that you leave it or set it to split onto multiple files, because that will allow us to move our operating system from this computer to another computer, or from this computer to a memory stick. If you, at the end of this class, you'll need to keep a copy of this for Linux 2 if you need to take Linux 2. So I always suggest put a backup on a memory stick, and if it's stored as a single file, it's too large to do that. So we have it set as split to multiple files. You won't notice it running any different, but in case you might want to move it later, you get a new PC, then you'll want to be able to move it. So set it as split. So we'll hit next here, and then here are some of our settings, but we can do customize or finish. There's a couple more things we need to set, so I'm going to go to customize. Okay. Or if you hit finish, it goes over and you can do the same thing, customize it. So we'll go now to edit this virtual machine, and that same window popped up that was just up on that screen I was just on. Excuse me. So here we have one thing I noticed right away. The requirements say we need 2 gigs of memory. So we want to go to this memory hardware device. We're still on hardware and not options. So we're at hardware, and we want to change this to 2 gig. So we're going to up that. Otherwise, it's not going to be able to run properly. And then hard disk space was 20. And I noticed you can change that later on, but make sure, we're going to set up the partitions when we do our installation today. So we need at least 20 gigs to do proper partitions. And the last thing we need to change here, well, one of the last things, is the network adapter. Now in the textbook it says to set it preferred on bridged. Now this is important. If you're at home, on your network at home, you would want to set it on bridged, because sometimes NAT can screw up your home network, or at least the computer. It would create another IP address for your virtual machine, and that might screw up your home network. So at home, set it on bridged. Now the problem with bridged in a computer network environment like the campus is that it doesn't allow you to directly connect to networks when there's things like firewalls in place on a large network. So on campus, you would want to use NAT, Network Address Translation. If you're on campus, set it to NAT. If you're on your home PC or laptop, like I am, even if you're on your laptop on campus, but it's set to use the wireless, set it on bridged. Now, if you cannot connect to the internet and you're on the network or somewhere different, then you can always go back and change this. But for now, set it on bridged unless you're sitting on one of the school computers in the classroom, and then set it to NAT. So we'll hit, I don't want to hit OK quite yet. I want to go down, I want to go to this option here, CD, DVD. Here, I need to point to where my ISO image is. So I want to go from use physical drive to use the ISO image, because I want to do my installation. Now at the I'm going to point this out because people miss this step quite a bit. It's in it's one of the last steps of Project 2-1. When you get to step 14 of Project 2-1, it says, in the settings of your virtual machine, ensure that the DVD drive is no longer attached to the ISO image. So people get to step 13 and they power off and they go, oh great, I'm done. No, don't forget to redirect it, because otherwise when you boot up your virtual machine the next time, it will go ahead and try to install the operating system again, and you don't want to do that. So right now, because we need to use our ISO image, we'll click Use ISO Image. But once the installation's done and we power off, when we're finished with step 13, go back to the Edit the Virtual Machine, go to CD, DVD, IDE, and change it to Use Physical Drive, and then it should launch to the actual drive. So here, because we need to install it, we're going to use the ISO and point to the location. Now, I stored mine on my desktop, so I'm just going to go over to my desktop, and then here's my ISO image, wherever you downloaded it. Make sure when you download it, it's completely downloaded. It didn't have any problems with it. It's, like I said, just about almost a gig in size. So I'm going to select that and hit Open, and then hit OK, and all my settings are perfect. Now when I'm done with my installation, I'll go back, Edit, and then down to here, I'll change the Use Physical Drive again, but for now I need to install it, so I leave it on. And now I will power on this virtual machine. That's just a small problem right there. Let me pause this and fix that issue. That was a close call. I just had to get my key over here is the machine I'm using. I had to just get my license key and plug it back in. I thought I would have to download Workstation 14, which I was going to do, but I have two boys who game a lot and they are internet hogs, so I need to throttle them somehow. But right now, I'm good. So let's power this on now. I just had to update my license key. By the way, to do that was not hard. I'll explain these in a minute. When it asks for your license key, if you didn't install it, just go to On the Hub and look at your account details and you can see your license key. So if you've not run this before, it'll say, okay, we want to use our devices, your keyboard, your mouse. You just hit OK on that. Okay, let me just make sure I'm running here. I always get paranoid when I pause my recording that I picked it up again. Okay. And I did. So I'm starting my installation. Now down here it tells you install 64-bit as you would. You're done. Okay. I'm just going to close this window for now. Down here it is going to give you things, messages with Workstation, like if you need to update it or if you have to check some things out. So I'll just close that for now. And you'll notice it's a black screen. It's going through the installation. But let me show you real quick how VMs work. Here is my desktop. This is my regular computer. And then here is my workstation. And what I'll have inside of here is Fedora. So you go from one machine to the other, and to get out of that you hit a series of keys. I'll show you in a minute. But I like to you could do full screen on here, and then it's like you're just looking at at the Linux station. So this first screen that comes up before the installation is to try it or to install it. We don't want to try it because that's using the live version, and when you just do try, anything that we set won't be a permanent change, so we have to actually install it. Now remember, we are in our virtual machine, so we're installing it on a virtual device and not our actual hard drive. That's very important. I do have students who call me and say, I lost my computer when I installed it, and they overwrote their primary operating system. So make sure you're using VM Workstation. Here we'll set our language settings there. Continue down here. Now don't just zip through these steps. Make sure you're following along in the book. Okay? And I'm going to pull up that I don't think I have my physical book. I gave it to a student last semester and I never got it back. So I'm going to go to these steps in the chapter because we want to make sure we follow them exactly. So we've gotten, that zips so quick through that. Step on the installation summary, do the date and time. Okay, we'll do that. We can click on here and just make sure we're in the right time zone. New York is our Eastern Standard Time, so we're good there. Right now it's January 13th, 10:07. Let's see. Okay, here we want to set up our partition, and this is where I say reference your book so you make sure you set the partitions up properly. If you've already done the installation and you did not follow the steps in the book, redo it. Create a new one, because it's really important that we have our partition set up properly, because we do other projects that use that partition space. Do you like my Flourish and Blotts? I love Harry Potter. I just finished reading the whole series over the holiday break. I have not even watched the movies yet. I know I'm about 20 or 10 years behind, but right now I'm enjoying my Harry Potter world. So here we're going to go over to our system and change our installation destination. So step 7, click here, and we should see that 20 gig is on our drive called SDA. Mine has a little lag, and it's probably a little lag because I'm recording at the same time that I'm installing. So you shouldn't have that if you have a newer device. So I have SDA, 20 gigs of hard disk space. So we are going to hit Done up here, and then a window will pop up. We want to select something different here. Click I want to review or modify my disk partitions before continuing. So we do not want to select the default partition of one partition. We want to split it up. And then our partition scheme we want to change to standard. So click the standard partition, and then we can press continue. Again, if you didn't do this, just delete your VM, start all over. Here, we want to create them automatically. Step 9 at the manual partition screen, click this, and it will create several partitions. We want to highlight SDA 3, and in the chapter 1 it talks about what a swap space is. Or chapter 2, I'm sorry. So you've read about that. So we'll go over here to SDA 3, and we're going to reduce this from 17 gig to 12 gig. Oh, I have my num locks on. And it's standard partition. Okay, and then we're going to hit Update Settings. And you will see that we have additional space left over now, so we can use it. So we're not modifying our SDA1, which is what it's booting to. That's a half a gig. That's our boot drive. And SDA3, that is 12 gigs. So we'll have approximately 7 gigs about left after that we can do things with. So once you hit Update Settings, we can hit Done, and then it will ask you to accept the changes. Oh, you can see down here my available space after when I updated it is now about 6 gigs. It's off a little bit. So we can do things, we can do other partitions with that later on, which is what we want to do when we get to the chapter on partitioning. Here we want to leave, this is just confirming what we said to do, which is to destroy our default and create our new partition. So we want to accept these changes. Take just a second, and then your begin installation will come up. Okay, we don't have to change our keyboard. We already accepted that, remember? We don't have to set our network configurations. So we are beginning our installation, and now two other things we want to set. Now, this is really important on our password, and we are all going to use the same password because people forget their passwords, and if you forget your password, you just got to start over. I'm not gonna, you can figure out how to reset it as an admin, but you're the admin of this system now. And if you forget your password, you either need to figure out how to reset it, which is not an easy task, or you start over. So the book tells us to use our password. We use the same password everywhere in the classroom. If I give you a copy of my operating system, I do this sometimes, like if a student really messes their OS up, I'll just, and we're at this one project or they don't have time to rebuild it, I will say, here's my copy, take my copy. My passwords are always the same. It's what the book tells us. It's LNX, all capitals, ROCKS, rocks, Linux rocks, exclamation point. So, password. Write it down. It's in the book, so you don't have to write it down, but that is what we're going to set our password as. And also, we're going to set a user, and our user is called user1, not your name. So we'll go here to set up our root password. So I'm typing capital LNX and then lowercase ROCKS exclamation point, and I'll type that again, LNX capital ROCKS exclamation point. Do you see here, LNX rocks? That's what our password should be for user 1. That's what our password should be for root here. And then even on the homework, I have it in big red bolded letters, LNX ROCKS exclamation point. I'm telling you, people forget it. And don't, if you don't, I know you're like, I won't forget it, but someone will forget it. So set it as that, and then we'll hit done. So now we created one, well, we automatically have one account called root at the end of this. So we have one account during our installation. Account called root. So the username is actually root with a lowercase r. No, thank you, Microsoft or Word. I don't want to capitalize that. So that's the username if you want to do administrative things, and then our password for that is LNXROCKS exclamation point. We're going to create another account here in a minute, and we're going to call him user1, all lowercase, and that password is LNXROCKS exclamation point. So let's change that to 2 accounts. Now later on, we can create additional accounts. You can create more accounts now, user 2, 3, 4, something with your name. But our assignments, as we go through these labs, it'll say login as user 1 or login as root. And those are the 2 people that you can connect as. So I'm going to go over here and create user 1. Again, if you zip through this, then go back. You can go back and create a user pretty easily. But it might be easy too, just to restart it. Should have read the instructions. Okay, full name. We're going to be real creative and just do user1. And again, the book does this for consistency so that when it says connect as user1, it doesn't have to be connect as your name or something like that. So we'll just create a user with a name and description of user1. We want to check this box that says make this user an administrator. It's not quite the same as root, but it has root access. And then we'll set this password the same thing, LNX ROCKS exclamation point, and confirm it, exclamation point, and then we will hit done. Those are all of the settings that we need to do. And you'll see mine is 80%. We are on step 12, where we just let our installation finish. Here's a power off button, but of course I don't want to power that off while it's installing. Oh, I started to tell you a little while ago. You see this little thing down here? If you zoom in, it says well, right there. It says to return control to your computer, do Control Alt. So when I have my mouse and I'm inside here, I'm clicking around in Fedora. If I get stuck in this window or I'm in here and I can't get out of this, depending on however you have your view set up, you need to hit Control Alt, and then it will give you control to your primary operating system, so you can click out here and around. So that's how you move in and out of your VM workstation. There's other things that you can set and view. You can do full screen, console view. Fit Guest Now is kind of a nice way just to see as if you were using only that computer. So a lot of times I need to have my book open at the same time, so I will just leave it on this window setup. And then I'll do things like this and have two windows. Okay, we're just going to sit and let the installation finish. I'll pause it so you don't have to sit here and watch my thing zip through, and then I'll pick up when my installation is finished. So the next window that pops up, I'll come back on. Dang, I hit pause on my installation. No, I didn't. I hit pause. What am I doing? I hit pause on my VM. So I'm kind of tired tonight. I hit the wrong button. Let me start this again. Resume this virtual machine. Pause this. Okay, my installation is finished. It was nearly complete, so it only took a couple minutes, and fortunately I didn't screw anything up by pausing it. I hit the pause on the virtual machine and not pause on my recorder. Whoops. So I'm going to hit quit because I'm finished the installation. And what we have here is our operating system. So you could click, Windows has a start menu. Linux has an activities menu. And when you click on that, different things come up for us to do. But we'll get into that later. For now, we're going to power it off. So step 13, in the upper right hand corner, select the power icon and hit power off. And then we need to do that all important setting to boot to it automatically. So we will power down this machine. Don't restart quite yet. We'll just power off because we want to change our virtual machine settings. You having fun yet? I am. I really like teaching this class. I've not done it online before, so I'm making videos this semester, which is nice. But I love teaching it face-to-face and online. I think you'll enjoy it as well. It's a lot of hands-on stuff. So we will edit this virtual machine and go to the IDE and change this to use physical drive and then hit OK. Now this machine is shut down, so you go on with your business to another class, you close that out, what have you, and save your homework. When you're done with your homework and finish everything, you click here and upload it in Blackboard. But when you want to launch your machine for the next project, when you go on to project 2.2, you just go back to the virtual machine. You're done with the ISO. You can delete it. I wouldn't. I'd save it for later. And this should pop up over here. If it doesn't, then just go to File and Open, and it will point to Whoa, that's loud. Oh, mine, it's not pointing. You can find where your virtual machines are. Oh, I had mine on my desktop, and where did I move them to? Oh, it went to... Remember when I said pay attention to where it's stored your virtual machines? Where did I put... Well, virtual... Here is where mine are. Or here is where this one is. Went to some wonky location for me, but you could just open it that way. Okay? But usually it pops up. If not, just do a file and open and point to where it is. I should also show you that location was... Okay, my entire this entire operating system, it's stored in this directory here called VM images, right here. So if you need to, no, that is not the one. Let's see where I saved this to. Users, Katie, virtual machines. Okay. This is me forgetting what I'm looking at. This will help you. You go to your edit and then over to options, and then your working directory is where it's stored. Okay, so I am going to go to that location, which was C users Katie. See, I have poor file management skills right now. And there it is, virtual machine. Huh. Goodness, I need to really, with the invention of cloud storage, I have files all over the place. I really need to take like a sabbatical and just organize my files. So here, this was one I created earlier and messed up, so I'm going to delete that one. But here is my whole VM, and when it's shut down, you can move it over to like a memory stick from your classroom to your computer at home, or from your home computer to a memory stick. And right now my machine is shut down, and the size of it was 3.5 gig. But that are 3.25, but that will get increasingly larger as we do different things. So in here, there's a bunch of files that cause that do different things to run our virtual machine. So this is mine that I just created. These are from other classes. So now I'm going to power it back on. I'm going to have you do. I'll mention it in the video, and we'll see who does this. Who watches this video to the end, but we need to do an update on our operating system now. So I'm going to power it on and show you how to do that, and then I'll post an announcement for everybody that says once you've done your installation, make sure you do an update. And it'll take a little bit of time, so if you want to do it later, you can, but I'll show you at least how to run it right now. So we're powering this on. I'm going to click in here, and notice my mouse is in here. Okay, we can log in as user 1, or we could log in as root. We're going to log in as user 1 right now. LNXROCKS exclamation point and sign in. Just make sure you're running. And Linux, as you read with the chapters that you started to read, we are going to have a GUI with Linux. So we have this beautiful GUI interface, which is just like your interface on Windows, where you can point and click and move around. English. We can set this stuff up. I don't want to add any cloud. I'm just talking about that. Just start using Fedora. So we can do different things here. You can, just like on a Windows machine, you can access the internet, you can create directories, files. We will learn the GUI parts of this, but what we spend a lot of our time with is the terminal. So as you read in chapter 2, this is important. Highlighted it. Page 59. This table tells you how to open up different terminal windows. So Control-Alt F1 is your GUI, your graphical user interface, and then you could do Control F2 to get to command line, F3 to get to another command line. They're just different windows. So I'll do Control, make sure you're clicked on the screen. I'll do Control Alt F2 and it will pop up my GUI. And I can log in here. And then if you want to get back, I'm sorry, I said GUI. It'll pop up my command line where I type in commands. We do a lot of this. And then if I want to get back to my GUI, do Control Alt F1. And then you just switch between them. Well, here I just hit F3, so now I have a TTY3 open, but I could go back to F2 and it's TTY2, or F1, Control Alt F1, and it's my GUI. So I am going to go to my TTY2, so Control F2, and I'm going to log in as root. Now, I apologize if this is small. I don't know how I can zoom into it, but on your screen, I'll use a different terminal window when we do command lines in the future. But you want to log in here as root. So we're going to type in ROT, hit enter, and then the password. And when you type your password, the cursor does not move, but it's accepting your characters. So you put in your password, LNXRocks, exclamation point, hit enter, and now you're at a command line. So don't let this scare you. This is where we type in a lot of our commands. And the one that I want you to do to update our operating system is yum update. YUM space update. And then all lowercase, hit enter. And then this will go through out to the internet. It'll say, okay, we found your upload. Do you want to do it? Hit yes, continue. If you have problems with your update, like I'm having problems right now or not connected to the internet, don't worry about it at this point. Just finish this project and we'll hit our update later. Another app is holding it up. I might have to switch mine to NAT. I might try that if you can't connect. Perhaps try switching to NAT, but if you can get your update to run, great. If not, don't worry about it at this point. So you have your OS installed. You're ready to go on to Project 2.2. I'm going to go back to F1, and when you pick up with Project 2.2, zip up there. It will show you, it will tell you to go how to get to your terminal, and you'll be typing commands like date and who and logging in as user 1. Okay, so you'll have fun with this project, and let me know if you have questions. Thank you. Turn it off.